very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord with the CBC Evening News and our top story. Another deadline for the Ministry of Education. The Barbados Union of Teachers is giving it 2 weeks to complete its investigations and bring the union's membership up to date on the Alma Paris and Parkinson secondary schools. Last year, teachers at both institutions expressed concerns about the management styles of Parkinson Principal Jeff Brooms and Valdez Francis, who heads Alma Paris. The union has also given a deadline to the Public Administration Department. Dale Ford has more.
Attended a BUT meeting at Solidarity House, which started after 9 and ended around 11:30. The union puts the number at 1,500, while the Education Ministry says just under 900 teachers did not report for work. BUT President Pedro Shepherd says members agreed to give the ministry 14 days to get back to them. He says this is a realistic deadline.
We have asked the Ministry of Education, Science, Innovation and Technology to give us some indication within the next 2 weeks as to the status of the current investigation being conducted into the Parkinson Secondary School, and 2 weeks to give us some indication as well as to what the plan of action which is being instituted at the Alma Paris Secondary School would bring.
The union is also calling on the Personnel Administration Department to appoint over 400 teachers to the civil service, moving the total number of appointments from 2,564 to 3,000.
It is not a case of taking on more people. Those persons are already functioning in the system. The system requires all of them. We had discussion in 2010, 11 probably, where we discussed it. We had favorable comments from the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Civil Service. So it's just a matter of, we are asking that the excess, if they cannot give us the 3,000 persons, that they could create what we call supernumerary posts, so that as vacancies arise within the 2564, that the person would automatically go in. But people want to feel safe in their jobs.
Mr. Shepherd said the union will wait until the deadlines are up to contact the ministries.
We are ready and willing to have dialogue with the ministries. If they cannot meet the deadlines that we are asking for, it is for them to say that the deadlines cannot be met and have some discussion, some negotiation where we set fresh deadlines. But it is totally disrespectful not to respond to the deadlines and expect that the union is going to be comfortable with any decision that you make or do not make.
The union is expected to send correspondence to the two ministries tomorrow. Dale Ford for CBC News.
Thanks, Dale. And some level of disruption was reported at some schools across the island. The fallout was a direct result of that special general meeting held by the BUT. At Parkinson, teaching was suspended for the day, and Principal Jeff Brooms admitted that there was some disruption. He, however, told CBC News that the situation was handled accordingly.
Of course, there's disruption because the Barbados Union have this meeting with members of staff of different schools. Today we have 26 teachers plus Mrs. Bavel, who is one of the more senior persons, and myself here at school. The deputy's not here. Apparently, I can only assume that she has gone to the meeting because I've heard nothing at all, which is somewhat disappointing to me. But we have order in the school.
Mr. Brooms says contingency plans were put in place and prefects helped in this regard.
I held a meeting with all the members of staff, and we split our supervisory roles into two. One group will hold the classes for the first session, because we split into a 3-hour session, or more 2.5 because we had a meeting in there, and then the other group for the other session.
Well, earlier, BUT President Pedro Shepherd said that the timing of the meeting was not meant to disrupt classes. He had also encouraged managers of the various schools to make arrangements for the supervision of their students. And after a long period of displacement due to an environmental problem, students have returned to the Grisettes Primary School to start the new term. Ryan Broom has that story.
Students once more entering the gates of Grisettes Primary School. They're back after being relocated last October to Ebenezer Seventh-day Adventist Church and the Breath of Life Church because of a foul odor at the school. After a thorough cleaning, the Education Ministry has given the all clear and classes have resumed at the St. Michael Institution. For Donna Small, the return is a welcome one since she experienced some difficulty getting her children to the temporary locations.
Some mornings they say the bus was coming at 8:15, and many mornings we wait down the center till 9:30, and then the bus come. There were 2 buses at first, and then it eventually ended up at 1 bus coming and carrying all the children to both locations. So we weren't really pleased some mornings because some drivers say they only making 1 trip, but you couldn't be vexed with the transport board. So we got to know that the school moved back.
However, not all the parents had challenges with the adjustment. Heather Springer says she had no difficulties dropping off her granddaughter to the temporary location. She adds that the smell at the school had never discouraged her or her granddaughter from going there.
It was an order, but you couldn't really tell where it was coming from. Where it was coming from, because normally when I travel coming up the road down there, I used to pick up the smell, right? It's something just was spraying in the area. So I wouldn't give the school no downgrades on it.
MP for St. Michael North, Ronald Toppin, visited the school. While happy that classes have resumed, he's hoping it's not another false start.
The disruption really was obviously very detrimental to Grisette's. Even a casual visit to the temporary location where they were accommodated in Whitehall and Eden Lodge, the facilities there were the best in the world, were clearly inadequate for a school to properly function in my view. And I think that the children who were doing the 11+ exam were significantly disadvantaged, so I'm glad to see that they're back here.
Principal of the school, Edwin Bino, is grateful to all involved in the restoration of the school.
I'm very happy and pleased that our school is open today at our original location here in Ealing Road, Grisette. And I believe everything is fine. I want to say thanks to all the persons who have worked diligently to get the condition of the school back to normal. The persons in the Ministry of Education, especially in the EPIU section.
Ms. Bino adds that she hopes there will be no further disruptions. Ryan Broom, CBC News.
The government has taken another step to preserve the island's heritage and historic sites. This has been done with the establishment of the Task Force on the Restoration on Barbados's Built Heritage and the National Restoration Program for Barbados's Built Heritage. Both initiatives were launched at Illawarra Court last night. Prime Minister Frando Stewart says preserving historic buildings will benefit virtually every sector of the economy.
For example, in the area of employment, it permits the preservation of skills that may be otherwise lost, thus providing sustainability in the labor market for skilled artisans. Career opportunities are expanded as we seek the talents of persons skilled in working with certain materials. Architects can specialize in recreating designs of the past that speak to our history.
Mr. Stewart says the island's great heritage is not restricted to just buildings.
One of our greatest national motifs is included, namely the Chattel House, whose story is replete with meaning. Ladies and gentlemen, these brief references have surely demonstrated to you that the National Restoration Campaign is as important to the economy of Barbados as is any other program. We all stand to benefit.
And Culture Minister Stephen Lashley says a major component of that program will be public awareness and education.
It will also sensitize Barbadians and visitors alike to the importance of preserving our heritage and in so doing contribute to the strengthening of our national identity. This program will bring on board several key stakeholders, including the Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic, the Ministry of Transport and Works, the Urban Development Commission, the Ministry of Housing, Lands and Rural Development, the Barbados Vocational Training Board, the Barbados Community College, the Barbados National Trust, the Barbados World Heritage Committee, and the Task Force on the Preservation of Barbados's Built Heritage.
A St. Lucie man has been hospitalized following a shooting incident this afternoon. Lever Brooms, a 40-year-old resident of Checker Hall, St. Lucie, was reportedly shot in his left leg by another man around 12:15 while at Checker Hall Development. He was taken to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital by ambulance. Police Public Relations Officer Acting Assistant Superintendent David Welch says no one has been charged in connection with the incident as yet, and investigations are continuing. Meantime, lawmen have charged a teenager in connection with the road death of a man last month. Darren Niles, an 18-year-old resident of Cottage Heights, St. George, has been charged with causing death by dangerous driving with regards to the death of Clyde Small, which occurred on December 1st about 1:10 in the morning. Niles was the driver of a motor vehicle on Valley Road, St. George, when it became involved in a collision with Small, who was a pedestrian at the time. He died at the scene. Niles appeared at the District B Magistrates Court yesterday and was granted bail in the sum of $25,000 with one surety. He will return to court on April 14th. And we'll have more news after the break, but first we want to get your take on this question. Do you agree with the Barbados Union of Teachers' 2-week deadline for the Education Ministry to respond to the concerns raised? You can text yes or no to short code 8111 and the result at the end of our news.
We are still in the year 1952. The month is May. The legislature is in session.
My fellow assemblymen, as Barbados is the most windward island, if facilities were made for coaling and provisioning, a large and almost entirely new trade could be developed. Furthermore, I think it would be decidedly better to construct a breakwater with blocks of concrete grooved and tongued for the outer wall, and return some distance at the end of the internal wall, instead of attempting to make a mammoth structure by depositing plastic concrete in the Siltong seabed.
This is the story of Barbados' seaportal, the port of Bridgetown, and it's coming soon to CBC TV
8. Yo, Dubs. See two youth all look like fish there, and we go chase them out of here.
The man in the virgin, yo, the man in there.
Yo, them man, they don't deserve to live, man. Them abomination. Yo, them things done alright.
Yo, take it easy. Yo, easy yourself, thing. Yo, you know about tolerance.
What?
Tolerance, king. You don't have to accept it, but you must respect. See, the same me don't want somebody to respect me and to judge me because of how me look. That me I talk about. You must respect. Despite people's differences.
Show that.
Yo, give some respect, get respect.
You know you're right, Virgin. Yo, that makes sense, you know. Respect to you. Respect to them.
Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person.
Live up, love, protect, respect.
Retrenched National Conservation Commission workers represented by the Barbados Workers Union still want to have their matter heard by the Employment Rights Tribunal. BWU General Secretary Tony Moore made this clear in a brief media conference yesterday after she and other union officials met with retrenched NCC workers at the Union Solidarity House headquarters. The BWU meeting came on the heels of one held last week by the National Union of Public Workers. That union says it will be taking industrial action on behalf of the retrenched NCC workers it represents.
It is our view, therefore, that the Employment Rights Tribunal, which is an institution which should not be seen simply as a collection of 9 individuals, once properly reconstituted, that we, the Barbados Workers Union, will be pursuing the matter via that means, unless some other reasonable alternative that gives to the workers the kind of justice that they are pursuing can be suggested to us.
And noting that the BWU's representative on the tribunal remains unchanged, Ms. Moore also responded to questions about how long the union is prepared to wait for the matter to be heard.
It's not a question of how long the union can wait. It is how long workers can wait. And I don't believe that the wait that has been endured up to now has been necessary, and I certainly hope that, especially given recent developments with the tribunal and the Ministry of Labour, that all parties see the necessity in not only having this matter concluded in the soonest possible time on behalf of those former members of the NCC, but for the legitimacy of the tribunal and for the ministry and how it undertakes its work as well.
As Barbados moves to integrate the private sector operators into the public transportation system, the Association of Public Transport Operators says it is yet to see the proposed plan announced by Minister of Transport Michael Lashley. Interim Chairman of APTO Morris Lee, one of the entities representing the PSV sector, says they should be allowed to review the proposal. The plan will see commuters accessing either a Transport Board bus, minibus or route taxi under one roof.
To this date, I've not seen the plan. We have not been invited to any discussions with government on the matter as yet, and essentially it's difficult to comment in the absence of having the facts or the proposal to be able to peruse. So until the minister makes that plan available to us, it's virtually impossible to comment on it.
While assessing last year, Mr. Lee says there was no significantly positive development in terms of transport.
The only development that we have seen raise its head is the introduction of additional PSVs on the road and a significantly less participation by the Transport Board. So I really don't consider that to be an achievement because there are proposals and there are synergies that need to be developed to take the industry forward. And 2014 it has not been an era for anybody in the PSV industry to celebrate. During 2014, we lost the duty-free concession on the fuel, and we were evicted from the Transport Board. So the hardships have escalated in terms of staying above board in the industry. So that, in my mind, stands out at the top of a whole number of negative things that have happened in 2014.
Well, a Barbadian song is today leading the charts over in Trinidad and Tobago as that country moves fully into the carnival season. Nicholas Seeley, better known as Father Fox, and his track Ducking are doing extremely well, not only in the Twin Island Republic, but in Miami, New York, Canada, and England, according to him. He tells CBC News he released the music video about 3 days ago, and on the first day it had about 10,000 views on YouTube. Father Fox says the reception for the song in Trinidad has been amazing and confirms that he'll be doing a number of performances there.
I'll be heading down to Trinidad Carnival. I just came from Trinidad actually. I just did what they call the big fete to start off the carnival, the kickstart fete, tri-bikes. That went down nice. They had likes of Bungie, Ola Tanji, 5-Star Kilo, and some other guys, Lyrical, Kerwin, some other guys. That went down nice. So far I have probably about 12 gigs or so far for the carnival, and more popping up. So I'm giving thanks for that. We're also looking to put out a road mix very soon.
And regional news is next, but first a reminder that we want to hear from you on this question. Do you agree with the Barbados Union of Teachers' 2-week deadline for the Education Ministry to respond to the concerns raised? And you can text yes or no to short code 8111, the result at the end of the news. And you can also follow us on Twitter at CBC_Barbados and on our Facebook page, CBC News Barbados.
100 video channels, 7 audio channels, 22 HD channels. MCTV, the most affordable entertainment package.